Good morning, and welcome to the Universalist Church, in which love is the spirit. We are glad you are here, whether you're here in the sanctuary today or anywhere in the world. I'm Vicki Sklar, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the Social Justice Ministry and the chairperson of the Welcoming Congregation Committee. If you are a visitor, we hope you'll sign our guest book or visit our webpage, www.westhartforduu.org, to learn more. There, you can use the contact page to get onto our electronic mailing list. Our electronic communications are the best way for us to stay connected. We look forward to helping you become part of the Universalist Church. Since the COVID risk right now is low, but not insignificant, based on public health information, we are making masks optional for vaccinated folks and required for unvaccinated people of any age. After worship, we'll have fellowship in Fisk Hall and through Zoom. You can find the link for that in your weekly news or our Breeze calendar. If you aren't getting the weekly news, please sign up for it on our website. And now, I invite you to take a moment to make your mobile phone silent, turn off your email, put away your keyboards, and settle in for worship.
If you happen to have your home chalice with you and ready to go, please light it as we light ours here in the sanctuary. We gather together for many reasons. And today especially, we consider how we come together to keep hope alive within and among us. How we live out our values in our everyday lives and in our extraordinary moments. In our individual choices and our common efforts. Like hope, the flames of our chalice are kindled and rekindled, coming to life again and again whenever we gather. And like love, the chalice holds what we need it to hold, always carrying and cradling, always supporting and lifting. So may our community remind us today and every day how we may hold ourselves and one another in hope. We begin our service with an acknowledgement of our welcoming congregation work.
We are a welcoming congregation. Years ago, our church went through an intensive process to earn this recognition. And through these recent years, many of our church leaders have same-sex spouses. So why do we need a standing committee to assert our welcoming status? In the 1980s and 90s, the word welcoming was a reference to lesbian, gay, and bisexual individuals. The UUA developed the Welcoming Congregation program to teach us how to undo homophobia and later transphobia. In 2015, the UUA instituted this annual renewal program to encourage welcoming congregations to honor their original pledges and renew their commitments. So things we do yearly to learn about the concerns of gender-diverse people also count toward keeping our welcoming status. Thus, our committee is meeting denominational requirements. To the initials LGB was added the T. Nowadays, there is an alphabetic rainbow to consider, LGBTQIA+. What does each of these denote? The program we offer after service today will answer the basic questions about these forms of gender diversity. We hope you will attend 11:30 to 12:30 in the Program Center, thus helping us complete the renewal process. And this shows a second way we benefit from welcoming renewal. The issues and understanding of gender diversity are evolving and deepening. In the past year, 2 of our church services have focused on our queer members and friends. We have recognized LGBTQ+ days of observance. Our committee hosted the Pride Storytelling event last summer. We staffed a UU booth at the West Hartford Pride Weekend. Our church now offers meeting space for Q+, an organization that aims to uplift and empower queer youth in a safe environment. But our committee work leads to a wider awareness of issues affecting the gender diverse community. There is the recent push in several states to introduce anti-trans legislation. These bills range from banning transgender student participation in school sports to blocking transgender minors from gender-affirming health care. We members of the Welcoming Congregation Committee are outraged by this trend. Trans people are much more likely to be bullied and subjected to acts of violence. Such legislation would only perpetuate the problem. A federal law would help to eliminate discriminatory legislation at the state level. The Equality Act aims to end discrimination based on gender identity or sexual orientation. Having passed the House, its prospects in the U.S. Senate are unclear. In your order of service, the SJM newsletter includes a link for a letter drafted by the Human Rights Campaign. I can hear you checking that out now. And that letter can be sent to your senators. We encourage you to show your support for the Equality Act. On March 31st, we observe Trans Day of Visibility. This is a chance to celebrate trans and gender diverse people, raise awareness, and recognize their diverse achievements and experiences. Most of us take for granted that we can live openly as our true selves. For trans people, this can be dangerous and take a tremendous amount of courage. Trans Day of Visibility proclaims that trans people deserve to live authentically, to be visible. When we renew our commitment as a welcoming congregation, we show our gender diverse friends that we remain allies, affirming that all of who you are is sacred. All of who you are is welcome.
In line with these ideas of today's service and the welcoming congregation in particular, our opening hymn is number 170 in the gray hymnal, titled, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People." Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together.
Singing for our lives.
Please join me in speaking the words of our affirmation, our covenant. It's printed in the order of service and in the description. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated. Our connections team will offer our time for all ages today.
I'll have to break out my teacher voice. Can you all hear me? Yeah. All right, we'd like to invite the children to come forward. Good morning. You guys can come sit. Awesome. All right. So, yeah, it's been a long time since we've been up here, and it's been a long time since we've been with all your kids. So this is great. So we are the connections team, and our name comes from the idea that we are all connected, not just us, but with everyone out in the community. And we do projects with you guys, the youth of our church, to help connect ourselves with those people. So there's a lot of projects that we've done over the years, and some of you may have had a chance to do them, and some of you may have not yet. But in the spirit of remembering what we do here and who we are here, because we're kind of trying to get back into the groove, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about what we've done and what we hope to keep doing, okay? So there's a lot of props here. Let's see. We've got some friends at Sanchez School. Has anyone ever helped with a book drive? We've got some books. Right. And we've got some beautiful bookmarks. If maybe you want to hold these up. Has anyone ever helped collect, buy a book? Or Maddie, hold up the wrap. We wrap them and we decorate these wonderful bookmarks and we bring them to our friends at Sanchez School who don't often have a lot of books. And where's a poster of our friend there? Yeah, look at this guy's smile. You guys see his face? I'll turn it on so you guys can see it too. That's how happy he is because we're connected with him. So the other friends we have at Sanchez School are the preschoolers. Have you guys ever helped make one of these bags? Logan, what's in there?
A teddy bear, a coloring book, socks, I think, gloves, and crayons.
Yeah, we put a lot of fun little things in those preschool bags, and we put some needed things like toothbrushes and socks and mittens. And you guys might not be able to see this out here, but we are going to put this stuff up at Fellowship Hour so you can take a look. This is one of the preschoolers who got one of our bags one year. And you can see her face and how connected she feels to us for all of that. So, what else have we done? We've done the soup. Who's got the bag of beans? Yeah. We got these beans. Has anyone ever helped scoop beans? Yeah? Yeah, we got these beans, and then, and Jordan, what have you got there?
We got some sliced tomatoes, no salt, and heartburn.
Yeah, we combine those beans and tomatoes, and we connect with our friends out on the reservation through Hawkwing to send them some soup. Some wonderful soup that you guys help prepare, and we send out to the reservation.
And some sliced tomatoes, which are heart healthy with no salt.
Awesome. The other thing that we've done for the reservation is we've given out onesies. Has anyone ever decorated a onesie for a baby? All right, and then maybe bring it back with some things that they need out there. There's some pacifiers here, but they always need wipes and diapers. So our connection through Hawkwing with the reservation is huge, and something you guys have done to support. Anyone know what this might be for?
A backpack.
It's a backpack. And
That's a backpack.
it's a backpack. What's it for, Nicholas? Do you know what we do with the backpacks here?
You put food in them.
We put food in them, and who are we connected to with that food?
Backpack.
It is a food drive. This is for kids in the schools here in West Hartford who might not have enough food to eat on the weekends. So we're connected with them to help do that. Okay? So, and then the other thing that we have is what Mrs. Crawford's holding up here. I didn't even know what Mrs. Crawford has. Some brownies. Over the years, if you guys have helped bake and bring stuff to our bake sale that we have to help raise money to help us do all these projects, you guys are all connected with people out in the community just by using your hands to help make something. Okay? So we are gonna head out in a minute. We're gonna set up all this stuff in Fisk Hall, and we are hosting Fellowship Hour today. And if you're interested in becoming a part of the Connections team, you can certainly sign up and join us. We'd love to have more hands, small and large. So we welcome you all. And with that, I think we can sing our children out.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. We are grateful for all the ways in which you support us and one another. By offering your time, talent, and treasure to this community, you help us serve our members and our friends and the wider community to which we belong. As part of that service, we share our general offering each week with organizations that are in harmony with our values, who do the work in the world that brings us ever closer to creating beloved community. And so this month, we share our offering with the Prudence Crandall Center. Founded by women in 1973, the center initially empowered women to participate in all aspects of community life by providing training and support groups in a safe meeting place. Today, the Prudence Crandall Center is dedicated to helping all people of any gender, any race, any age achieve lives free of domestic violence by providing a continuum of care, advocacy, support, and education. You can give electronically if you're at home or here in the room by using the QR codes on the order of service or going to our website and finding the links to give there. You can use the links in the description on YouTube, or you can donate to our offering here in the sanctuary with actual physical cash. Here in the sanctuary, our offering will now be gratefully received.
Thank you. Sèche mon cœur.
For these gifts given so generously that help us and help us to help the world. Our gratitude. Thank you.
Our responsive reading is printed in the order of service and in the description online. I'll read the words in Roman type, and you may respond with the words in italics. As Unitarian Universalists, our journey is to transform the big and the small, to transform ourselves, and to transform the world. Universalism means no one is outside of the circle of love, and no one is disposable.
No one is outside the circle of love, and no one is disposable.
We stubbornly seek out the spark of the divine in each other, no matter what. Interdependence means none of us is truly free until we are all free, and our thriving is bound up in the earth's thriving.
None of us is truly free until we are all free.
We struggle for liberation from the violence of white supremacy, sexism, ableism, and heterosexism. Our covenants mean we make promises to our communities to honor love and justice above all else.
We make promises to honor love and justice above all else. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing our Doxology. Praise God for love we all may share. Praise God for beauty everywhere. Praise God for hope of good to be. Praise God for truth that makes us free. Amen. And please be seated. As we begin our time of prayer and meditation this morning, I have something wonderful to share with you. Annette C. is happy to report that her surgery and recovery are coming along well, and that her husband, Rich, and their family are doing the best they can to make sure that she does as little as possible, allowing her body to heal well and thoroughly. Emails are still your best way to reach her. Say hello and send your support to them both. I sent one earlier this week and received a lovely response, and so I know that they would love to hear from you too. And now, please join me in a moment of prayer. Spirit, which is at the heart of life, which we call resilience, perseverance, be with us in the times that break our hearts. The times that call for more than we think we have to give. Times that reveal our anxieties, our fears. In moments like this, where we are worried about the world nearby and far away, when we are concerned with laws in our own country that make it harder for people to be themselves, that limit medical choices, whether about reproductive rights or about the care of trans children. When we are concerned about what's happening in the rest of the world and how that might have repercussions far beyond those places, like in Ukraine. When we are aching with grief or uncertainty, when we do not know how to move forward, when we are beset by troubles or overwhelmed by things that might not otherwise bring us low. In those times, in these times, Spirit, which is resilience and perseverance, give us the courage and the strength to continue on, to rely upon one another, to act well in the world, and to nurture that good within and beyond ourselves. Let us take a moment in stillness together. In our stillness, with the prayers of our hearts and the knowledge that the world is not always as we wish it would be, let us nurture our own strength and courage, our connection to the divine that can uplift us, so that whether in situations created by nature or by politics, by accident or intent, circumstance or plan, may we always have enough within ourselves to rise, to come up from where we have taken shelter or perhaps been pushed to the ground, to lift ourselves up and to lift up those around us so that we may recreate this world, our communities, ourselves and one another, ever better than before. May it be so. Amen.
The optimists of the world build the airplanes. The pessimists build the parachutes. We need them both. I have always been a confirmed optimist. I tend to see the silver lining and look for possibilities, not obstacles. But the past couple of years have certainly proven to be a challenge for any optimist. A new deadly virus was spreading across the globe. The World Health Organization declared a pandemic. The evening news and newspapers were filled with a mounting death toll, and we watched, helpless to do anything about it. Initially, our only hope to curb the spread was to isolate, stay 6 feet apart, and wear a mask. Suddenly, our world shut down, and my world became smaller. Personally, I didn't find the shutdown a hardship. I found it a time of reflection and an opportunity to slow down and do things that I never got around to. I found online exercise classes through Silver Sneakers and an array of online courses offered through various university sites. I also recognized that I was one of the lucky ones. I was not like my daughter, working from home and juggling the needs of children going to school online or with a hybrid schedule, or my 97-year-old mother isolated in a senior living facility. I learned the importance of keeping in touch with friends and family, and we found creative ways to have socially distanced outdoor activities and meeting online using technologies that we soon became familiar with. My bridge group joined an online group with people around the country. I shared an outdoor Easter picnic with my kids and grandkids. I also believed that this could be a time when, faced with a common deadly enemy, people would come together. I found hope in the small acts of kindness reported across the world. People in Assisi singing to one another with windows open so the sick and elderly could hear the music. The people of New York cheering and banging noisemakers to cheer healthcare workers as their shifts ended. Smog around the world lifted as people stopped using their cars, and the waters of the Venice canals became cleaner. But my hopes that our nation would come together were not realized. The pandemic seemed to drive people apart. Racism and hate and violence spread throughout the country. I experienced a sense of hopelessness as images of racial violence and the ugliness of a white supremacy philosophy filled the airways. The elections of 2020 were marked with efforts at voter suppression and ended with an attack on our own seat of government. Faced with the complex set of problems in our country and the world, it was clear that we had to find new ways to understand the issues and make our voices heard. The social justice ministry recognized that our efforts would be more effective if we joined with other groups whose mission we supported. In the summer of 2020, we tackled voter suppression by joining with the Center for Common Ground and sent thousands of postcards to remind people how important their vote is. We joined with UU The Vote to deliver this message with phone calls to people living in states at highest risk for voter suppression. For me, the highlight of this effort were my phone calls to some elderly African American women in Georgia. In this age of cell phones and caller ID, they were usually the only ones who answered their phones. I think they enjoyed the company. And after chatting with them, I found myself using phrases like, "Have a nice day now," and "bless your heart." But during these calls, I also learned that several of the women I spoke to did not know that their voting place had changed. I checked with the Voting Information Center and called them back to make sure they were going to the correct polling place. Now, I can't claim that the votes of those few women made a difference, but Georgia did set records for voter turnout in the 2020 election, just saying. The whole experience brought me joy and renewed my faith in social activism. Our church's membership in GIA, the Greater Hartford Interfaith Action Alliance, is an important part of our commitment to join our efforts and our voices, identifying emerging needs and affecting social change. On January 6th, we joined with other groups to speak out against the hate and violence of the Capitol riots by sponsoring and attending a candlelight vigil. Currently, members of the congregation are contributing to and participating in the Welcoming Project, which is helping to resettle a refugee family from Afghanistan. Our times are tumultuous, but we can all make small contributions. By joining our voices and our knowledge with others, Our small individual efforts can move mountains. I still find inspiration in the often repeated Margaret Mead quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has." Whether you're an airplane builder or a parachute maker, join us in the social justice ministry at whatever level of time commitment that you can. We can all find ways to keep our spirits up with individual acts that promote social justice.
Our first reading is from Sikh activist and lawyer Valerie Kaur, taken from an address she gave during a night watch service at the Metropolitan AME Church on December 31st, 2016 in Washington. The mother in me asks, what if? What if this darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb? What if our America is not dead, but a country that is waiting to be born? What if the story of America is one long labor? What if all of our grandfathers and grandmothers are standing behind now, those who survived occupation and genocide, slavery and Jim Crow, detentions and political assaults? What if they are whispering in our ears, "You are brave"? What if this is our nation's greatest transition? What does the midwife tell us to do? Breathe, and then push. Because if we don't push, we will die. If we don't push, our nation will die. Tonight, we will breathe. Tomorrow, we will labor in love through love. And your revolutionary love is the magic we will show our children. Our second reading is a poem by Amanda Gorman, National Youth Poet Laureate. It is entitled Resolute. This rush of peace runs so deep, it roots us to the spot. It is true that poetry can lamp an era scraped hollow, a year we barely swallowed. There is justice in joy, starlit against all that we have ended, endured, and entered. We will not stir stones, we shall make mountains.
Like many of you, part of my life has been dedicated to supporting causes which I believe to be important. Because of this, I recently participated in a Zoom meeting of our church's social justice ministry related to the Greater Hartford Interfaith Action Alliance. As a result of that meeting and my work with Native Americans through Hawkwing, I was asked to investigate the possibility of adopting a land acknowledgement policy for our church. Briefly, land acknowledgement is more than just a recognition of those who came before and lived on this land. It's an acknowledgement that the Native Americans are still here, citizens of both their tribal nations and the United States. It's an acknowledgement that they were and continue to be subjected to social injustice. More than just a written policy, a land acknowledgement must include a commitment to developing authentic relationships with the people and the land that the institution is attempting to recognize. Interestingly, our church is not the only local institution pursuing this idea. The University of Hartford is also, and a representative of that institution and I will be working with Sharan Wapataqua Piper, clan mother of the Golden Hill Paugussett Nation, to draft a land acknowledgement policy for our respective institutions. This involvement has also caused me to reflect on how I have kept a positive attitude while dealing with issues that seem to be overwhelming. Two factors stand out for me. First, my involvement has given me the opportunity to meet and interact with some extraordinary individuals, both in our congregation and in the various groups that I've worked with. Those friendships and the shared experiences are extremely important to me. They're energizing, and they create a feeling that I am not alone, but part of a much larger movement. Second, knowing that I have made someone's life just a little bit better, that I have been able to let them know someone cares about them, keep me hopeful and focused to try to do more. Thank you.
It was long before Facebook rebranded itself that I knew my brain always found the meta. I look for patterns, the story that data tells, and the questions it raises. I am by nature and training a planner. My husband Joe and I decided that we wanted to have 2 children 2 years apart. And of course, I went into labor during our older son's 2nd birthday party. These days, my hair seems to be on fire, and it can be exhausting. I am outraged by gun violence, by the inequities in education, housing, healthcare, and employment opportunities. How do we permit our society to keep so many families in unending poverty and allow the super wealthy to retain exorbitant lifestyles and power? I am outraged by the injustice that our racial history perpetuates in the daily lives of people of color in this country. The list goes on: child care, mental health, reproductive health, and more. Not to mention COVID, and now Ukraine. Back to my brain. I am an optimistic person like Jan. I came of age during the civil rights movement and the Vietnam War. Though it was a time of protest, we felt that we would ultimately prevail. I struggle to find that optimism right now. It's more than COVID fatigue. It's a feeling that we are losing control of our lives. So many fundamentals seem to be crumbling. Do I have the patience to wait and let the next generation save us? I sure hope they can. But I have to deal with today. Maybe my brain just doesn't want chaos, or losing my country, my world, my family's future is just something I refuse to let happen. Our democracy and our planet are our biggest concerns today, and making democracy work will determine whether we have a planet and a future. It's my brain. My way of coping is to consume all available information and try to make sense of it. One of the benefits of visiting my 99-year-old mother frequently is that we watch MSNBC every day together. We consume the latest breaking news, but on the other hand, it amps up my fears. My husband Joe gets his political news from late-night comedy shows, Trevor Noah and Stephen Colbert. I say to him, "Did you hear about?" "Of course I didn't," he replies. He finds the blow-by-blow of the latest antics tiresome. So I wait for him to hear it from the comedians on late night. And then he can deal with his own outrage through their jokes and sarcasm. Then we can talk about it, and of course we have some good laughs too. Funny, I showed that need to know when the pandemic began. During the first 6 months, every day I graphed all the data for Connecticut and the Hartford County before the media started doing it for us. There are healthy ways of channeling my alarm. The social justice ministry gives me a learning community. It is my small group in this church that lovingly supports and challenges while we reach out and bring in others in the congregation in learning and action. I am so glad to have this church to support that discovery. Also, we can effectively reach out to individuals and groups to work with. working together with a diverse group of affirming people in effective organizations like Reclaim Our Vote and GIA is the most energizing way to keep me going. For you, it might be a direct service project. For me, it's something that I can see will make systemic and policy change. But both can move us toward justice in the world, and both are spiritually uplifting. We find it satisfying to work with people who are most affected by a problem and to support them and let them take the lead. That commitment is included in our SJM covenant and the church's vision statement. It's a learning process for white, educated, privileged folks, and especially for planners like me. But it is freeing and humbling. Where have you found meaningful partnerships with others to make change? Have you been able to work hard and apply your energies and talents, but also give those affected their voice? Most importantly, we need to all nourish joy in our lives and treasure and celebrate our daily delights. Amanda Gorman told us, there is justice in joy, starlit against all that we have ended, endured, and entered. We will not stir stones. We will make mountains. And as Valerie Kaur says, what if this darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the wound? What if our America is not dead, but a country that is waiting to be born? What if the story of America is one long labor? What if all our grandfathers and grandmothers are standing behind now? Those who survived occupation and genocide, slavery and Jim Crow, detentions and political assault. What if they are whispering in our ears, "You are brave"? What if this is our nation's greatest transition? The social justice ministry displays 5 words: do, give, connect, show up, and learn. They work for me. My motor is still running. I am hopeful, but I still hear those alarm bells. My social justice friends keep me calm. Thank the Spirit for that. Let's all sing together with determination and joy. Hymn number 1017, Building a New Way. It's in the teal hymnal. Thank you.
is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Before we speak our Unison Benediction, let us offer our thanks to all of the members of the Social Justice Ministry and the Welcoming Congregation. Our thanks for your leadership, your encouragement toward this congregation to make a difference in the world, and toward reminding us of how we might keep hope alive today and every day going forward. And now, let's join together in speaking the words of our Unison Benediction. It's in your order of service and on the description. Engage with the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Please be seated for our postlude and then attend the Welcoming Congregation workshop after the service.